Alison Fisher. You've heard the name, right? The one they call the Princess of Snooker. And not because she shows up in ball gowns, but because of the way she plays. She's been dominating the snooker table since most of us were still figuring out which end of the cue to hold. From the outside, she seems like she was born with a cue in one hand and a trophy in the other. But behind those quiet stares and perfect shots, there's a whole side of Alison that fans rarely see. Did you know that she won the women's 9-ball pool gold medal representing the United Kingdom at the World Games in Taiwan? And that's just the beginning. She was also inducted into the Billiard Congress of America Hall of Fame in a ceremony at the Marriott Hotel in Chesapeake, Virginia. Oh, and if that wasn't enough, she was shortlisted for Stonewall Sports Award of the Year. Yep, just a few more major achievements to add to her list. But honestly, that's nothing compared to what we're about to tell you next. Let's dive into 10 things you probably didn't know about the legendary Alison Fisher. Trust me, some of these will make you look at her in a whole new light. Starting with number 10. We have a story that's less about stumbling into snooker and more about being practically born with a cue in hand. At the age of 7, she was already glued to the TV, completely captivated by Pot Black with her dad. While most kids were off watching cartoons or playing tag, she was daydreaming about spinning balls and chalk dust. Before long, her family was bringing home small snooker tables. Then they moved to Peacehaven, which might sound like a peaceful little getaway. Anyway, 12-year-old Alison begged her parents to let her play at the local pub, the Peacehaven Central Club. The table was taller than she was, but she was all in, even if it meant balancing it between school, hockey, netball, and basketball. And with just 4 hours a week to play, she still somehow made the pub league team by the end of the season, though the older players were not thrilled. But yeah, she still won.
Yeah.
But when you were young, some of your kinfolk wouldn't even let you play because you were a young lady.
I was at my cousin's wedding and I was a bridesmaid, and at the reception downstairs they had a 12 by 6 foot snooker table. My brother and my cousin said, "You can do the score and you can't play." When my mum came to pick me up, I was in tears. And she said, "What on earth's the matter?" I said, "They wouldn't let me play on the table." I was the one who could play, I thought, at 7 years old. So it's interesting.
Was it upsetting to you?
Absolutely. I was devastated.
Yeah.
Next, at number 9, let's talk about history for a second. In 1991, Alison Fisher did something that had never been done before. She became the first woman to score a century break in the World Championship. And by century break, we mean 103 points. You get the sense that the whole room paused, watching in awe as she made snooker history, one ball at a time. The accomplishment was no small feat either. In a sport where men usually took center stage, she showed up, aimed, and casually turned the whole table around. Who knew a few chalked up cues could spark such a revolution? Coming in at number 8, we've got total domination. Before pool became her full-time gig, Alison was basically the princess of women's snooker. More than 80 national titles, 11 world championships, and 7 singles crowns. Stacked like trophies in a game room she probably doesn't even have space for anymore. It wasn't only about the trophies though. Alison's transition to pool was just the natural next step. After ruling snooker, she figured, why not take over another sport? So she did. She had no plans to hang up her cue just because her trophy cabinet was already full.
You know, I used to play snooker for 10 years professionally.
Seven world championships.
Yeah,
right?
I won 7 worlds singles, 4 mixed doubles with Steve Davis, who was the greatest in the 80s. And yeah, really good run at that. And then one day I just decided I wanted to play 9-ball and try and win a world title in a different cue sport. And that's what I did. I came to America in '95 on a one-way ticket.
Yes.
And then another fairy tale happened then, and I've been here ever since.
Leading to number 7, Alison made the bold move of buying a one-way ticket to the United States in 1995. It's one thing to hop on a plane for a holiday, but it's a whole different game when you're leaving everything behind to chase championship dreams in professional pool. But that's exactly what she did. She had no clear map of what lay ahead, but she wasn't the type to wait for permission. Just like her snooker beginnings, she jumped right into pool and began making waves in the US. And number 6, she not only tried pool, but totally ruled it. From 2000 to 2001, Alison Fisher did something that should be classified as a miracle. She won 8 major pool titles in a row. And no, these weren't small-time wins. These were the real deal where everyone brought their A-game. If there was a major tournament, she was the one to beat. And guess what? No one could. If her name was on the player list, everyone else was basically fighting for second place.
This is great. I love this game. And I felt at home immediately, and my goal was to win a tournament within 6 months. And I ended up winning the second tournament that I entered, and that was within 2 weeks.
Wow.
So that was me on a roll then. I was like having the time of my life.
With number 5, Alison Fisher was really good at pool. So good, in fact, that she ended up earning more than many of her male counterparts. In a sport where the odds were often stacked against women, Fisher made it clear that when it came to winning, gender didn't matter. In fact, her earnings spoke for themselves. She was raking it in while the boys were still trying to figure out how to angle that tricky shot. And if anyone had a problem with it, well, they were just going to have to deal with it. Coming in at number 4, you know you've made it when you get a nickname that sounds like it belongs in a royal drama. Fisher was named the Duchess of Do, and for good reason. Her shots were deadly, like game over kind of deadly. Whether it was her calm demeanor or her ability to sink a ball with a look that could intimidate a dragon, Fisher's presence at the table was enough to make her opponents sweat. The Duchess of Do might sound like a villain, but trust me, she was the one everyone feared, in the best way possible. Next, at number 3, Fisher got the ultimate honor, induction into the Billiard Congress of America Hall of Fame in 2009. Getting your name etched into sports history doesn't happen every day, but when you've changed the game the way she did, it feels less like a surprise and more like destiny doing its job. It was all about how she made an impact on the sport. And to be honest, it's hard to imagine a pool table without thinking of her, because she pretty much set the gold standard. Moving on to number 2. Fisher was appointed as a member of the Order of the British Empire in 2022, officially making her royalty in the world of pool. For all her hard work, dedication, and breaking down barriers, she received this prestigious honor for her services to sport. And finally, at number 1, we have Fisher doing what Fisher does best, being iconic before most teenagers even figure out what they want for lunch. By the time Alison Fisher was 14, she was already a TV star. No, not the kind of star that shows up in a reality show about nothing, but a real, legit star. Her first appearance was on Noel Edmonds' Swap Shop, and by 17, she was already on The Terry Wogan Show. Meanwhile, she was still out there winning world championships like it was no big deal. She even had the patience of a saint while waiting for a tournament in India that kept getting postponed again and again. After all that drama, she ended up in a dingy concrete room with a red curtain and no real air conditioning. But did that stop her? Absolutely not. She ended up buying a one-way ticket to Las Vegas and took over the pool scene like she owned it. And let's just say, she didn't look back. And that's a wrap for today's video. These were some of the things you might not have known about Alison Fisher. But if we accidentally missed a juicy detail or two, feel free to drop it in the comments. And for more snooker content, click on the screen right now.